you know, anyways. So I'm talking about when my brother left this year and moved schools, which really doesn't seem like a huge deal, but for me, he is my twin brother, so it's kind of harder than what you'd expect. But it says, about August of 2021, my whole world changed. It was when my twin brother Jacob started to lose himself. And I started to make my life about taking care of him and making sure he was okay, and it was a constant battle. And it caused a lot of issues between my parents and my other siblings. Jacob eventually ended up leaving and to my dad's end, which broke my heart, but I'm incredibly proud of where he's gotten. But while that was all happening, I got to the point where I couldn't handle it alone. I kept asking adults in my life for guidance, but honestly, most of them couldn't understand why I was so upset about him leaving. But they just didn't get that, like, he was my twin brother, and we've been together since we were born, so it's been a very hard adjustment. So I took a lot of my anger out on God. I could not understand why he would take the one person who made me feel safe, and I would write angry letters to him and yell at him while I drove. I could not comprehend why God would let this happen to me. Why did God let Jake leave? I think it was like about March is when he officially did leave. Like, he went to PG schools, and that's kind of when I like switched. So that's when I got my tattoo, which I did mention at camp. It says "like God," but it's like "let go, like God." It's on my arm. I don't know if anyone can see it, but that's when I got the tattoo, because it's when I kind of realized, like, I didn't have a choice. I had to move on. Like, I had no option. Jake was going, and I had to be okay with that. So that's when I talked about I had to get out of the space because it was breaking me down to nothing. So one night, instead of yelling, I went and looked at the sunset. And I just got to look at God's work and what he has done with my life. And God continues to work in my life. I just kept looking at the beautiful picture God painted in the sky, and that's the night I decided to thank God instead of yell at God. God has provided so much for me. Yes, I lost so much, but I also gained just as much. This year has been what I was terrified. This is when I talk about camp. This is very odd, but I'm going to leave it in because it is a very important part of my faith journey. This year, I was terrified to come to camp without Jake. I almost didn't. But all I could think was how safe camp makes me feel, and how after a year like this, all I wanted and needed was camp. And honestly, has been one of the best weeks of camp I've ever gone to. I have been able to be my true self and feel love for it. And for that, I thank all of you. Camp Christian is definitely my home away from home. I love you all, and thank you for making camp memorable. That's where I ended it. But I personally would like to add a little bit for here. After Jake left, it was hard, but I truly did turn to prayer, which is kind of hard. Like, as a 17-year-old girl, putting my faith first instead of everything else was not easy. I get very much put down at school for it, but it's very important for me. I don't think I would be where I'm at without God, and where I will continue to go. I am very grateful for all the opportunities camp and church has given me, and I will continuously grow in my faith, and I'm very excited to see where I can go with this. And that's about it. Also, thanks to Tori for surprising me. That is my camp best friend. So I know she did show up in my driveway yesterday, and that was pretty exciting. That's just like an example of what camp can give you. My best friend for life. That's it.